You're listening to the Super League Pod. We're back a little bit earlier than we thought we'd be, and it's episode 126. We're bringing you a Bradford Bulls Liquidation special.
Hello, darkness, my old friend.
Only kidding, play the real music.
Okay, everyone, welcome along to, like Tom says, the Bulls Liquidation Special. We felt such a momentous time in the history of rugby league.
Right, no. You can't say it's a liquidation special and it's a momentous time in rugby league. It's a special edition of the podcast or an emergency edition of the podcast. It's not momentous time.
As everyone can tell, Tom's really relaxed. And
it's
still dull.
It's a historic time in terms of what's going on in rugby league, but momentous is the wrong word.
So as everyone can tell, Tom's still totally dull to the whole Bulls situation. Have got no passion or fire about it whatsoever.
Great. Could be happy to be a favourite episode ever.
But we wanted to cover it all off in one big go.
Yes.
And hopefully bring a little bit of, release to you, Tom, in all of this.
I don't see this being cathartic in any way. I see this keeping me up until the fucking middle of the night, to be honest. But like I was saying to you before we started recording, if this was any other team in rugby league, then we would be doing the same thing. So it wouldn't have been cricket of me to sort of say, well, no, I'm not going to do a special because it's about my team. So I think it's important in a lot of senses to try and I'm going to try as hard as I can to be level-headed, because I think it's important to look at this almost as a case study for other rugby clubs as well going forward, because this isn't the sort of thing we'd want to see happening to anyone. Although I have a vested interest. But
no one takes any joy, really, in what's going on.
You've not spent much time on the Halifax forums, mate, then. There's a fucking party on the Halifax forum.
Well, they're still recovering from their own collapse, aren't they?
So anyway, go ahead.
We're going to go through sort of a history of the crisis, of the disaster. Then we're going to pick up with what's happened following the liquidation with a bit of news, kind of. And then what we're going to mix in a few fans of the Bradford Bulls, as well as yourself, Tom, with their views of everything.
Yes.
Then we'll roll out the show with a few views from the other fans, including sort of an idea for what happens next. And we'll have a little bit of chat of that and close it out. And hopefully you'll feel cleansed afterwards, because it's okay to talk.
I'll be going straight for a shower. But yes, it is okay to talk. So, what's the first item on the agenda then for the listeners? What have we prepared for them? What have you prepared for them?
We've pre-recorded sort of a timeline, so we're prepared in advance. So we're going to play that in for you guys now. It's going to cover the whole history of things up to the 3rd of January when liquidation was announced. And then when you join us both again, we'll take you through time from liquidation to where we stand now on the 10th of January. Bradford Bulls, a timeline to liquidation. And every end must have a start. So we go back to the 20th of July 1964, when the new club or company Bradford Northern 1964 Limited came into existence. That was after the previous Bradford Northern club went out of business midway through the previous season. They played their first game a couple of weeks later against Hull Kingston Rovers. We jump forward now to what many Bulls fans will see as the start of the current crisis. The 21st of July 2005, Leeds Rhinos won their High Court case, successfully claiming that Bradford were not entitled to sign Iestyn Harris on his return to rugby league in 2004. Harris had signed a 5-year, £1 million contract with the Bulls. It was decided that Bradford and Harris would have to pay compensation to Leeds, which would be determined in a separate hearing, and they had already been ordered to cover Leeds' £64,000 legal costs. Leeds were claiming £3.2 million payout in lieu of transfer fee, lost potential merchandise and lost ticket sales from Harris's return. On the 7th of May 2008, £550,000 was agreed as an out-of-court settlement between Bradford and Leeds for the Harris deal. to be paid in 3 yearly instalments. Legal costs of $79,000 were also incurred by the Bulls during the legal battles between 2005 and 2008. Harris then left the Bulls at the end of the 2008 season. In September 2009, we saw Bradford miss out on the Super League playoffs for the first ever time. Jump forward to the season after, on the 13th of July 2010, after the Bulls' worst run in Super League of 8 straight defeats, coach Steve McNamara had his contract mutually terminated. A further year ahead, in July 2011, after a winding up petition, Bulls paid $47,500 to former chairman Chris Casely for interest on an already repaid loan. Other debts totalling over £110,000 were written off by Colin Tordoff, Roland Agar and Jack Bates. Then, on the 24th of January 2012, the RFL announced the purchase of Odsal from Bradford for a sum later disclosed as £1.25 million. They leased the club back the facility for a monthly rent of £6,000. Loaned funds of £750,000, which were advanced to the club by the governing body, had to be returned to the RFL. On the 27th of March 2012, the crisis appeared to deepen as Chairman Peter Hood appeals for £1 million in funding after their bank RBS cut the club's overdraft facility. Hood said that half that figure was needed within a matter of weeks. A week later, the 5th of April 2012, former chairman Casely calls an extraordinary general meeting. Then on the 10th of April, the club announced that the $500,000 target in pledges had been met, securing the short-term future of the club. On the 4th of May, Peter Hood resigned as chairman and director, and then a week later, Stephen Colby and Roland Agar rejoined the board. On the 2nd of June 2012, Colby claimed debts were worse than first thought, saying an additional £1 million was needed to save the club. On the 13th of June, club officials filed notice of intention to appoint administrators after the HMRC threatened a winding up order over an unpaid tax bill. So the 26th of June 2012 was the first time that the Bulls were then placed into administration, with joint administrator Brendan Guilfoyle saying they have 10 days to find a buyer for the debt-ridden club. On the 2nd of July, Guilfoyle says Bulls are losing over £100,000 a month. 16 members of staff are made redundant, which included head coach Mick Potter, who remained at the club working for free for the rest of the season. On the 3rd of July, former general manager Gary Tasker was appointed as chief executive of the club on a temporary volunteer basis. On the 10th of July, a deadline to find a buyer was extended to the 27th of July by the administrators as the RFL agreed to provide funds to cover staff wages. Into August 2012, and on the 2nd of August, Super League announces it has made a bid to buy Bradford on behalf of all the other Super League clubs. On the 31st of August, the administrator confirms that the club has been sold, though, to a consortium fronted by Bradford businessman Omar Khan for an amount of £150,000. On the 12th of September, Khan's takeover is confirmed and ratified by the RFL. The Bulls agree to forfeit half their central funding for the 2013 and 2014 seasons, with the money, £1.2 million in total, shared between the other top flight clubs. On the 14th of September, the Bulls are granted a probationary 12-month licence to stay in Super League the following season, and 3 days after that, Francis Cummings was appointed as the new head coach on a 3-year deal. On the 7th of March 2013, Bradford businesswoman Jay Wiley announces she is joining the board after agreeing to pump a 6-figure sum into the club. The next newsworthy item in the timeline came in June. On the 21st, Elliot Whitehead left the Bulls for the Catalan Dragons after handing in a transfer request. The 25th of September 2013 saw Omar Khan step down as the owner, citing ill health. At some point during the autumn of that year, Mark Green loaned the club £150,000 to pay wages. This was loaned under a debenture, making him a secured creditor of the club. On the 11th of October, the ownership wrangles started to occur, with Ian Watt buying a stake in the club, becoming co-owner alongside Mark Moore and Ryan Whitcutt. On the 17th of October, local businessman Andrew Calvert became the fourth new shareholder to join the club. The 1st of November 2013 saw local product John Bateman sold to Wigan for a fee of around £80,000. On the 12th of November, Ryan Whitcutt left the club after failing the RFL's fit and proper person test. The 30th of November 2013 saw the Bulls deny holding company OK Bulls Limited was on the brink of administration after a new company, Bradford Bulls 2014 Limited, was incorporated. Moore, Watt and Calvert claimed £400,000 must be cut from the club's operating budget in December 2013. Omar Khan then reveals he is taking legal action with Moore and Whitcutt over the ownership of the club. On the 24th of December 2013, Moore, Watt and Calvert stepped down as directors as no agreement could be reached by them to buy Omar Khan's shareholding in the Bulls. On the 30th of December, it is announced, though, that constructive talks have taken place over the ownership of the club, and Moore, Watt and Calvert were back running the day-to-day club. Skip forward to the 31st of January 2014, however, and OK Bulls Limited is placed into administration after no agreement could be reached to transfer ownership from Omar Khan to the new company, Bradford Bulls 2014 Limited. On the 10th of February, Richard Lamb was revealed with his plans to make an offer to buy the club. However, on the 20th of February, it was announced that Bradford Bulls 2004 Limited have had their bid to buy the club accepted by the joint administrator. On the 25th of February, it's confirmed the Bulls will be docked 6 points as punishment for entering administration, resulting in another walkout by Moore, Watt and Calvert. This then hit the playing staff with, on the 1st of March 2014, veteran Nick Scruton joined Gareth Carvell and Jared Samet as high-profile players to leave the club since going into administration. The soap opera continued on the 13th of March, with Marwan Kukash believing his wife Mandy's bid to take over the Bulls will be accepted after a deadline for offers passes. On the 21st of March, though, it was Richard Lamb's bid that was accepted by the administrator. Days later, after the consortium Lamb led failed to provide proof of funds to the RFL, he was ruled out of buying the club. On the 26th of March 2014, Mark Green was announced as the new owner and chairman of the Bulls. He appointed Steve Ferris as his managing director. Jump forward to April 2014, and the Bulls announced plans to appeal the 6 points deduction for being placed into administration. On the 11th of June 2014, the Independent Sporting Sanctions Appeal Panel upholds the RFL's 6 point deduction as a penalty for entering administration. Just days later, on the 16th of June 2014, Francis Cummins and his assistant Lee St Hilaire are sacked by the club, with Bradford 8 points from safety and 11 games left to play. On the 17th of June 2014, Captain Matt Diskin was put in temporary charge as player coach, but that only lasted a week, as on the 24th, former Bulls legend James Lowes was appointed the new head coach with immediate effect. On the 26th of June, Chairman Mark Green then says that the club will take the points deduction challenge to the High Court. Less than a month later, on the 20th of July, relegation to the Championship is confirmed following a defeat to Huddersfield Giants, and the club announced it will no longer be pursuing the further legal action over the points deduction. On the 13th of September, more worrying news to the Bulls, as it came out that Francis Cummins was set to sue the club for wrongful dismission, after no financial settlement was made to honour the remainder of his contract. On the 15th of February 2015, 15, Bradford see themselves open in the Championship. They lose to promotion rivals Lee in a very exciting encounter. Then on the 14th